Good morning, student. This is the 11th lecture of your petroleum refinery and petrochemicals, where we discuss about the fluid catalytic cracking process. So it is a very important secondary uh, conversion process in the petroleum refinery, and it plays a very important and a critical role in the petroleum refinery, as it is a major secondary conversion process since 1942. Now there are more than 400 fluid catalytic cracking units in the world. 400, more than 400. And this process provides around 50% of all transportation fuel and 35% of total gasoline pool. Okay, so this FCC unit, means the fluid catalytic cracking unit, it consists of mainly two parts. One is reactor, another is regenerator. So this FCC unit consists of two parts. One is reactor and another is regenerator. So that is why the reason sometimes, means not sometimes, this FCC unit is called as a process example of process intensification in the petroleum refinery. So it is an example of process intensification. So one unit, FCC unit, consists of reactor as well as the regenerator, and this reactor reactor consists of riser. Okay, this one is the riser where the major reaction is taking place, and then the cyclone unit. This is the cyclone unit. Okay, cyclone unit assembled in this reactor vessel. Okay, so FCCR, fluid catalytic cracking reactor, it consists of riser, this riser along with this cyclone unit, which is assembled in this reactor vessel. Okay, and this riser is, you can see here, this is a long tube. Okay, so this is a long tube, and feed is allowed to get entered in contact with the hot catalyst, which is regenerated hot catalyst. Okay, so hot catalyst, and this hot catalyst is enabled to rise through lift media. So some lift medias are there. Through this lift media, hot catalyst is enabled to rise in this riser. Okay, and lift media is usually steam or light hydrocarbon gas. So lift media is usually steam or light hydrocarbon gas. So in this riser, the contact time is about 250 milliseconds. Contact time is about 250 milliseconds, and this riser is eventually connected to the cyclone units, where the cyclone units receive the catalyst and the finished product. Cyclone units receive the catalyst and finished product, and catalyst that reactor that enters, that the cyclone unit, catalyst that enters in the cyclone unit is fully cooked, because of the reaction, and as there is a coke decomposition over the catalyst surface, so it can deactivate the catalyst activity, so it needs to regenerate. So for this case, this catalyst need to regenerate to regain its lost activity. So after this cyclone operation, the catalyst falls down to the vessel that houses the riser and the cyclone units. Okay, so which after the cyclone operation, means in the cyclone operation, it separates the hydrocarbon vapors, and the catalyst as a solid fluid operation. It separates the hydrocarbon vapors and catalyst as a solid fluid operation, and these catalysts are falls down to the vessel that houses the riser and the cyclone unit. Okay, and this catalyst in the vessel is subjected to steam stripping. So this catalyst, whatever the catalyst that is falling in this vessel, the riser vessel, okay, that needs to steam stripping, okay. So in which direct contact with steam is allowed, in which the direct contact of the steam is allowed in this steam stripping section. So where it allowed to remove the hydrocarbon from the catalyst surface. So before it goes to the regenerator section, the spent catalyst, it first used to remove the hydrocarbon from the catalyst surface using this steam stripping operation, where direct contact with steam is allowed over here, okay. So this is the part of this reactor. So as we can see, this reactor unit basically two units, that is, one is reactor and another is the catalyst regenerator, okay. One is reactor, another is regenerator, and in this reactor section there is a riser part along with this cyclone unit, which is assembled in this reactor vessel, okay. So hot catalyst is enabled to rise, hot catalyst which is coming through this regenerator, it enables to rise through the lift media in the riser, and this lift media is nothing but the steam or light hydrocarbon gas, and the contact time in this riser is near about 250 milliseconds. Then cyclone units receive the catalyst, and the finished product, and whatever the catalyst that enters into that cyclone unit is fully cooked because of this reaction, cracking reaction over this riser reactor, and that needs to send to a regenerator to regain its lost activity, and before it sent to the regenerator it has to steam stripping to remove the hydrocarbons from the catalyst surface, where the steam is injected as a direct contact with this catalyst, okay. Now next is this regenerator part, where this spent catalyst sent to this regenerator, and means the catalyst activity is regained over here. So spent catalyst which is relatively cold enters the regeneration unit. So spent catalyst which is relatively cold, which enters the regeneration unit, and air enters. Here we can see that some air enters the vessel through a spurger setup. This is the spurger, okay. So this is the spurger. So air is entering the vessel through a spurger setup, and catalyst is subsequently burned in the air. Which enables both heating the catalyst, and this required to carry out the endothermic reaction. So this catalyst is burnt over here, and which enables both heating the catalyst, okay. So this is the endothermic reaction, and here after removing the coke, the catalyst regain its activity. After removing this coke, the catalyst regain its activity, okay. Now both in reactor and the regenerator, both are having the cyclone separator. In a reactor, these cyclones are used to separate the reacted oil feedstock from the catalyst. In the reactor, cyclones are used to separate reacted oil feedstock from the catalyst, and this reaction is the endothermic reaction. In a reactor, cyclones, okay, cyclones are separate the reacted oil feedstock from the catalyst, and it is the endothermic reaction. And in the regenerator cyclone unit, it is used to separate the catalyst from flue gas, where the flue gas contains CO2, CO and sulfur oxides, and this reaction is exothermic reaction. So in regenerator cyclones, it is used to separate the catalyst from the flue gas, and it is the exothermic reaction. Okay. Next is the catalytic cracking process, catalytic cracking FCC process. So in the previous slide we have seen what are the process in this reactor and the regenerator is going on, how the process is going on. First, the the feed with the lift media, it goes to the reactor through this riser where the main catalytic reaction is going on. So here, after this, the catalyst, after this reaction, over the catalyst there is a formation of coke over the catalyst surface, and it needs to regenerate the catalyst because of the decomposition of the coke over the catalyst, it loses the activity, means the catalyst loses its activity. So to regain its activity, it needs to send to the regenerator unit, and after this, before it sent to the regeneration unit, this used catalyst, over there the coke is decomposed, that needs to steam stripping using the steam. So see, this steam stripping is used to remove the hydrocarbons over the catalyst surface. So after that, it sends to the regenerator unit where the catalysts are regenerated and regain its activity, and then again sent to the reactor. So both are having the cyclone unit. So this is the photo of the cyclone separator. This is the industrial photo of this cyclone separator, which is included in this reactor and the regenerator. And this is the photo of the cyclone unit, which is inbuilt in the reactor, and this one is the another type of the cyclone separator, which is inbuilt in this regenerator part. Okay, so here we can see the reactor and the regenerator both are different types of cyclone separator. Okay, so this type of cyclone separator which is includes in the reactor, and these are the types of cyclone separator. Here the number of cyclone units are more than the reactor. Okay, so these cyclone separators are inserted in the regenerator section. Okay, now here we can see some is the feed enters the cracking reactor. Okay, feed enters in the cracking reactor, and then cracked product from the reactor means these are the cracked product from the reactor. It goes to the distillation unit, main distillation unit. Okay, so from this FCC, means whatever the cracked product coming out from the reactor, it goes to the distillation section, the main distillation section, where it produces unstabilized naphtha, gas oil, it will be the light gas oil and heavy gas oil both, and then slurry and gas. Okay, light gas oil, heavy gas oil, slurry and gas. Okay, so the reactor product sent to the main distillation column, where it produces gas, light naphtha, light gas oil, heavy gas oil and slurry. Okay, now in this catalytic cracking FCC process, long hydrocarbon alkanes, okay, long hydrocarbon alkanes are breaking down into the smaller hydrocarbon molecules. So here we can see the long hydrocarbon alkanes are breaking down by using this cracking process, it converted to the short hydrocarbon, that is alkene, and another short hydrocarbon molecule which is alkane. Okay, so long hydrocarbon molecules are breaking down into small hydrocarbon molecules, and these alkanes are paraffins. Paraffins, it is long chain single bonded hydrocarbon. Okay, it is a long chain single bonded hydrocarbon which cracking or the breakdown this long chain hydrocarbon into usable short chain alkanes and alkenes. Okay, and these alkanes are used these alkanes are used for gasoline and fuel oil. These alkanes are used for gasoline and fuel oil, and alkenes has double bond. We can see here the alkenes has double bond, which is used ethanol, alcohol and plastics. Okay, so alkenes are used for gasoline and fuel oil, and alkenes, as it is having the double bond, it can use for the ethanol, alcohol and the plastics. Okay, next is, after this FCC, what fluid catalytic cracking process, whatever the naphtha is produced, means we can see over here that the reactor product goes to the main distillation column, where it separates the gas, light naphtha, light gas naphtha, light gas oil, heavy gas oil and slurry, and this naphtha is unstabilized, so it needs to stabilize. So here we can see there is a FCC unit. This is the FCC unit. This is the FCC unit. FCC unit, after this, means from this reactor it goes to the main distillation column, where the unstabilized light naphtha is coming out from this fractionator or the distillation column, and then it need to process, it need to stabilize. So first, unstabilized naphtha consists of various hydrocarbons. This unstabilized naphtha, it consists of various hydrocarbons, therefore it is subject to stabilized by continuous processing. Now we see that whatever the slurry, this slurry from the it goes to the phase separation unit. This slurry goes to the phase separation unit, where it separates the decant oil and heavier product, where it separates the decant oil and heavier product, and this heavier product, from here there is some phase separation unit. So from this phase separation unit, it separates the decant oil and heavier product, recycle back to the cracking reactor, and whatever the unstabilized naphtha, it sends to the unsaturated gas plant. Okay, where gas obtained from the main distillation column, where the gas obtained from this main distillation column is sent to a phase separator, then again it's sent to a phase separator. Okay, so where it separates the lighter hydrocarbons from the heavier one, and phase separator is also fed with unstabilized naphtha. The phase, here also we have the phase separator, where it means this phase separator is also fed with unstabilized naphtha. Okay, so this unstabilized naphtha from the main column unstabilized naphtha from the 1 minute. The unstabilized naphtha from the main column, it goes to the primary absorber unit. Primary absorber unit. Okay. So it sends to the primary absorber unit where it absorbs heavier hydrocarbons in the gas streams. Means this in this primary absorber, it absorbs the heavier hydrocarbons in the gas stream. Okay. So from this primary absorber, it again goes to the secondary absorber. Okay, again goes to the secondary absorber where the light gas oil from the main distillation column is used as absorbent to further extract any absorbable hydrocarbons into the light gas oil. And the naphtha from the phase separator, goes to the stripping unit. For further consolidate and stabilize naphtha. So from naphtha from the phase separator goes to the stripping unit to further consolidate and stabilize naphtha, and this stabilized naphtha goes to the debutanizer unit. This stabilized naphtha goes to the debutanizer unit and depropanizer unit. Debutanizer unit and depropanizer unit, where in debutanizer unit it removes the butanes and lower hydrocarbons from naphtha. In this debutanizer, it removes the butanes and lower hydrocarbons from naphtha, and the product is debutanized stable naphtha or gasoline. Product is debutanized stable naphtha or gasoline. And in this depropanizer, butanes are separated from propane and other lighter hydrocarbons. Butanes are separated from propane and other lighter hydrocarbons. So lower product is here the butanes and butenes, and the top product is propane and propene. Okay, propane and propene. So from this FCC reactor, it goes to the main distillation column, and from this main distillation column, where it separates the various forms, means these main distillation columns here, the separates are means the things which are separated, that is gas, light unstabilized naphtha, light gas oil, heavy gas oil, and the slurry. And this slurry then again goes to the another phase separation unit where it separates the decant oil and the heavier product, and this heavier product again recycle back to the reactor, okay, for the further cracking process. And whatever the unstabilized naphtha, it goes to the unsaturated gas plant where the gas obtained from the main distillation column is sent to a phase separator. Okay, so in that phase separator, it separates the lighter hydrocarbons from the heavier one, and the phase separator is also fed with unstabilized naphtha, and this unstabilized naphtha from the main column, it goes to the primary absorber unit. Where it absorbs the heavier hydrocarbons in the gas stream, okay, in the gas stream from the phase separator. And from this primary absorber, it goes to the secondary absorber. Here we can see only we have the one absorber, but few cases we have the another secondary absorber. In the secondary absorber also, the light gas oil from the main distillation column is used as a absorbent for further extraction. Okay. Then from this secondary absorber, it goes to the phase separator, and from the phase separator, naphtha goes to the stripping unit. Naphtha goes to the stripping unit, and from that stripping unit, the stabilized naphtha goes to the debutanizer and depropanizer unit. And where in the debutanizer unit, it removes the butanes and lower hydrocarbon from naphtha. And depropanizer unit, it the butanes are separated from the propanes and other lighter hydrocarbons. Okay, so bottom product is butane and butene, and the top product is propane and propene. So as we have discussed about the FCC regenerator, so FCC regenerator is a key part of the FCC unit to recover the solid catalyst activity and the spent catalyst, and contain hydrocarbons which is absorbed on its internal and the external surfaces. And adsorbed hydrocarbon which can be removed by stripping, process. So if this FCC generates plays a key part of an FCC unit to recover the solid catalyst activity by burning of the coke deposit on the catalyst surface with air. Okay, and then whatever the spent catalyst that leaves the reactor, it contains hydrocarbon which is adsorbed on its internal and external surfaces, as well as the coke deposited by the cracking, and adsorbed hydrocarbon removed by stripping. This adsorbed hydrocarbon is removed by stripping before it enters the regenerator, before that catalyst enters in the regenerator. And the regenerator temperature and coke burn off are controlled. This regenerator temperature and coke burn off are controlled by varying the air flow rate. And heat of combustion raises the catalyst temperature. 620 to 845 degrees centigrade, and the regenerated catalyst contains from 0.01 to 0.4 weight% of residual coke. Now there are some old generation regenerator and new generation regenerator. So what are the difference between them? FCC, fluid catalytic cracking units, having the regenerator. So there are old type of and the new type of regenerator. So in the old type of regenerator, it is designed to burn carbon monoxide to minimize blower capital and operating cost. So the older regenerator unit is designed to burn carbon monoxide to minimize the blower capital and operation cost. Okay, because only about half as much air had to be compressed to burn to carbon monoxide rather than to carbon dioxide. This is designed to burn carbon monoxide to minimize the blower capital and the operating cost, because only about half as much as air had to be compressed to burn to carbon monoxide rather than the carbon dioxide. Now newer units. So newer units are designed and operated to burn the coke to carbon dioxide in the regenerator, because they can burn to a much lower residual carbon level on the regenerated catalyst. So these are designed and operated to burn the coke to CO2 in the regenerator, because they can burn to a much lower residual carbon level on the generated catalyst. Now this gives more reactive and the selective catalyst. This newer regenerator unit gives more reactive and selective catalyst in the riser and a better product distribution, which results at the same equilibrium catalyst activity and conversion level, which results the same equilibrium catalyst activity and conversion level. Now, as this is the fluid catalytic cracking, here there is a use of catalyst. Now, what are the properties or the characteristics of the good catalyst? So first we need to know what are the characteristics of the good catalyst. First, it has to be able to produce desirable product, not coke. Okay, so it has the ability to produce, it should have the ability to produce the desirable product, not coke formation. Okay, and second one, selective to valuable products. Selective to valuable products, example high octane gasoline, which is desirable for this high octane gasoline. Next is it that catalyst need to be stable, so that it does not deactivate at high temperature level in regenerator. So this catalyst need to be stable so that it does not deactivate at the high temperature in the regenerator. And last one, it should resistant to a contamination. It should have the resistant property to contamination. Now there are three class of catalysts. First one is acid treated natural aluminosilicates, then amorphous synthetic silica aluminium combinations, and third one is crystalline synthetic silica aluminium catalyst, which is also called the zeolite or molecular sieves. So there are three classes of catalyst in the FCC. First one is acid treated natural aluminosilicates, second one the amorphous synthetic silica alumina combinations, third one the crystalline synthetic silica alumina catalyst, which is also called the zeolite or the molecular sieves. Now this FCC catalyst is a powder with an average particle size of 75 micrometer. So FCC catalyst is a powder with an average particle size of 75 μm, and whereas Y zeolite and ZSM5 zeolite, these are the types of zeolite, Y zeolite and the ZSM5 zeolite, which are the common catalyst in the catalytic cracking process. Okay, Y zeolite and ZSM5 zeolite, which are the common catalyst in the catalytic cracking process. And this zeolite catalyst demonstrated vastly superior activity, gasoline selectivity and stability characteristics. Means whatever the good properties are needed for any catalyst, these are the involved in this zeolite catalyst. So this zeolite catalyst is used for this fluid catalytic cracking process or the catalytic cracking process, where this catalyst demonstrated vastly superior activity, gasoline selectivity and stability characteristic property. Okay, so these zeolites are aluminosilicate crystalline structures. These zeolites are the aluminum silicate crystalline structures, and it consists of silicon oxide and the aluminum oxide tetrahedra that are linked through common oxygen atoms that are linked through common oxygen atoms and give a three-dimensional network So in the interior of the structure there are water molecules and mobile alkali metal ions. So in the interior structure there are water molecule and the mobile alkali metal ions such as sodium, which are capable of being ion exchange with the other cations such as platinum. So alkali metal ions which is present here, such as sodium, that is capable of being ion exchange with the other cations such as that platinum. So these are the structures of the zeolite, and this is a photo which is in powder form. Now today's FCC catalysts are porous spray dried microspherical powder. So today's FCC catalysts are porous spray dried microspherical powder. So this particle size distribution of 20 to 120 micron and particle density having 1400 kg per meter cube, and it comprises of Y zeolite in many derivatives of varying properties and supplied under various grades of particle size and attrition resistance, which continuing the improvement metal tolerance and coke selectivity, which continuing the improvement of metal tolerance and coke selectivity. Now new breed of catalysts are high metal tolerance. New breed of catalysts are high metal tolerance with high matrix catalyst having better accessibility, regenerability and strippability. So new breed of catalysts are having high metal tolerance with high matrix catalyst having better accessibility, regenerability and strippability. Okay, next, the advantage of using this zeolite as catalyst. So whatever the characteristics of the good catalyst are needed, all are prevail in this zeolite. First one is a higher activity. It should have higher activity, so zeolite has this higher activity. Zeolite also have this higher gasoline yield, and it also this gasoline contains more paraffins and the aromatic hydrocarbons, and it lower the coke yield, and it also increase the isobutane production and higher conversion without overcracking. So high activity are also present in the zeolite, higher gasoline yield which is also needed for this FCC cracking. So higher gasoline yield is needed, and this gasoline contains more paraffinic and the aromatic hydrocarbons. Okay, now it lower the coke yield. As it lower the coke yield, so the duty of the regeneration unit will be lower, and the increased isobutane production as it increase the isobutane production, it also helps to increase the octane number, and high conversion without overcracking, as it provides a high conversion without overcracking. So the reactions are very good by lowering the coke formation. Okay, so when we have the overcracking, there is a formation of more coke. Okay, so the high conversion we can get using this zeolite catalyst without overcracking. So what are the conditions of deactivation of this FCC catalyst? So what are the conditions of deactivation of this FCC catalyst? First one is the conditions in the regenerator. Conditions in the regenerator. So what are the conditions in the regenerator? That should be temperature, water and time. Temperature, water and time. If these are the variables which is responsible in the regenerator to deactivation of FCC catalyst. If these variables are more or less, it depends on this deactivation of the FCC catalyst. And second one is the impurities or the poisons in the FCC feed. So whatever the impurities or the poisons will be present in the FCC feed, it will also hampers to deactivate this FCC catalyst. It is also deactivate the FCC catalyst. So what are the impurities of the or the poisons? Vanadium, nickel, iron, copper. And the temporary poisons are the nitrogen, carbon on catalyst surface, This nitrogen and the carbon on the catalyst surface lowers the catalyst activity. These are the temporary poisons. So these are the three conditions which can deactivate the FCC catalyst. First one, the variables that are the temperature, water, time of the regenerator, and the impurities. The main impurities of the poisons in the FCC feed, that are the vanadium, nickel, iron and copper, and the temporary poisons which are the nitrogen, carbon on catalyst surface, which lowers the catalyst activity. Okay, now what are the options for clean fuel? What are the options for clean fuel? So to upgrade the FCC products into acceptable blending components, following three steps are being used. Okay, first one is the hydroprocessing of feed to FCC. So severe hydroprocessing of feed to FCC. Second one is it need to treat each of the products in hydrotreater. Third one is combination of both upstream and downstream processing. So to upgrade the FCC products into acceptable blending components, these three steps are used. So first one is the hydroprocessing of feed to FCC. Second one is treating of each of the products in the hydrotreater, and then the combination of both upstream and the downstream processing. Next is there are two basic types of FCC units. Here we can see this one is a stack type. This one is the stack type FCC unit. In this stack type, reactor is mounted on the top of the regenerator. In this stack type, the reactor is mounted on the top of this regenerator, and side by side FCC unit, where the reactor and the regenerator, are separate vessels adjacent to each other. Side by side we can see these are the two separate vessels adjacent to each other. Okay, these are the two basic types of FCC units. One is stack type and another is side by side. So this is the older FCC unit. This is the older FCC unit configurations. So one of the most important process different in FCC units relates to the location and control of the cracking reaction. So most important process different in the FCC units relates to the location and control of the cracking reaction. Now until 1965, most units were designed with a discrete dense phase fluidized catalyst bed. Until 1965, most units were designed with a discrete dense phase fluidized catalyst bed in the reactor vessel. Okay, discrete dense phase fluidized catalyst bed in the reactor vessel, and the most of the cracking occurs in this reactor bed. Most of the cracking reactions occurs in the reactor bed, and extent of cracking was controlled by varying the reactor bed depth and temperature. And the extent of cracking was controlled by varying reactor bed depths and temperature. So in this older FCC unit, we can see the reactors also having two regenerator. One, we have the upper regenerator and another is the lower regenerator. Okay, first this spin means it goes to the spent catalyst goes to the regenerator unit. From this regenerator unit, lower regenerator, it sends to the upper regenerator for the regeneration. Then it again sent to the reactor through this riser, okay, where the main catalytic reaction is going on and where the discrete dense phase fluidized bed is prevail in this reactor. Okay, now this older FCC unit it was recognized that the cracking occurred in the rise feeding the reactor because the catalyst activity and temperature were at their highest. Because the catalyst activity and the temperature were at their highest. So no significant attempt was made to regulate the reaction by controlling the riser condition. So no significant attempt was made to regulate the reaction by controlling the riser condition. So after more reactive zeolite catalysts were adopted by the refineries, amount of cracking occurring in the riser line, which is increased to levels and required operational changes in existing units. After more reactive zeolite catalysts which were adopted by refineries, amount of cracking occurring in the riser line, which is increased to levels, required operational changes in existing units. So as a result, more recently constructed units have been designed to operate with a minimum bed level in the reactor with the control of the reaction, which is being maintained by a varying catalyst circulation rate. So most recently constructed units have been designed to operate with a minimum bed level in the reactor with control of the reaction being maintained by a varying catalyst circulation rate. But the old generation FCC units having dense phase fluidized bed, the discrete dense phase fluidized catalyst bed in the reactor vessel. Okay. So this one already I have discussed. Now, so many older units have been modified. So as these are having two regeneration unit and the discrete dense phase fluidized bed, so it needs to modified. So many older units have been modified to maximize and control the riser tracking. So these units are also operate with different combinations of feed riser and dense bed reactor. So these units also operate with different combination of feed riser and the dense bed reactors, which includes feed riser followed by the dense feed riser followed by the dense feed, and feed riser in parallel with dense feed, and parallel feed riser lines, one for the fresh feed and the other for recycle. Okay, so this feed riser and the dense bed reactors include feed riser followed by dense feed riser in parallel with dense feed, parallel feed riser lines, one for the fresh feed and the other for the recycle. And what are the improvements required? To get more efficient contact of heavy feedstocks with the catalyst particles, which results higher conversion levels with better selectivity, or higher gasoline yields at given conversion levels, which results at higher conversion levels with better selectivity, which gives the higher gasoline yields at a given conversion levels, and which also shorter and better control reaction times, which is near about 1 to 3 seconds, shorter and better control reaction times. And next one, the improved feed distribution system. So there should be the improved feed distribution system. Next is the operations. So in the fresh feed and the recycle streams are preheated by the heat exchangers. Fresh feed and the recycle streams are preheated by heat exchangers or a furnace and enter the unit at the base of the feed riser, where they are mixed with the hot regenerated catalyst, and heat from the catalyst vaporizes the feed and brings it up to the desired reaction temperature, and then the mixture of the catalyst and the hydrocarbon vapors travels up to the riser into the reactor, and then cracking reaction starts when the feed contact with the hot catalyst in the riser and continues until the oil vapors are separated from the catalyst in the reactor. So hydrocarbon vapors are sent to synthetic crude fractionator for separation into liquid and gaseous products. So hydrocarbon vapors sent to the synthetic crude fractionator for separation into light and gaseous products. So these are the older FCC unit configuration which has been modeled by the ESSO. So these are the different types of models. Okay, so many older units have been modified to maximize and control the riser cracking process. Okay, so these all the units also operating with different combination of feed riser and dense bed reactors. So these all the FCC units operating with different combinations of feed riser and dense bed reactors, including feed riser which is followed by dense bed, feed riser in parallel with dense bed, and parallel feed riser lines. Okay, so these I have also described. So first one is a feed riser followed by dense bed. Second one, feed riser in parallel with dense bed, and third one is the parallel feed riser line, one for the fresh feed and the another for the recycle one, and another for the recycle one. These are also the older generation of FCC unit. These are the configurations which are adapted by different industry. This is the EOP EOP configurations of the FCC unit, and these are the configurations of the MW Kelong configuration of the FCC unit, and these are the transfer line FCC unit configurations. Okay. Next is the modified catalytic cracking process. So modified catalytic cracking process. So first one is the recite FCC or the RFCC process. So here we can see this is the RFCC unit for Kiok to Petroleum Industry Limited. Okay, so these are the RFCC unit for one of the Petroleum Industry Limited. So in this RFCC process, which is this process is similar reactor technology. This process is similar reactor technology as the FCC process. This recite FCC process uses the similar technology as the FCC process, and it is targeted for residual feeds greater than 4 weight% conversion carbon. So this RFCC process targeted for residual feeds greater than 4 weight% conversion carbon. And in this recite FCC process, two-stage regenerator with catalyst cooling is typically used. Two-stage regenerator with catalyst cooling is typically used to control the higher coke production and resulting heat. So two-stage regenerator with catalyst cooling is typically used to control the higher coke production and resulting heat. So here we can see there are this one is the first regenerator and this one is the second regenerator. Okay, first regenerator and the second regenerator. So these two regenerators are used with the catalyst cooling is used to control the higher coke production and resulting heat. Then we have the reactor with the riser. From this riser also the cyclone unit, and also we have the stripper unit here. So from this reactor products goes to the main distillation column, and from this main distillation column we can get the gas, light naphtha, which is the unstabilized, and then the light gas oil, heavy gas oil, and the slurry. Okay, so in this reside FCC process, the different thing is two-stage regenerator with catalyst cooling is used, and it targeted for residual feeds greater than 4 weight% of conversion carbon. Okay, next is deep catalytic cracking process, or we can say it millisecond catalytic cracking process. Millisecond catalytic cracking process. So this is the improvements in the riser termination which devices have led to significant decreases in post riser residence time and the post riser cracking. So it is the improvements in riser termination devices have led to significant decrease in post riser residence time and the post riser cracking, and it also benefits the shorter catalyst. It also benefits of shorter catalyst and oil contact time. So as it is named millisecond catalytic cracking process, so it provides the shorter catalyst and the oil contact time, and which have been lower the dry gas yields, lower delta coke on catalyst, and more selective cracking to gasoline and light olefins. So these shorter catalyst and the oil contact time provides lower dry gas yields, lower delta coke on catalyst, more selective cracking to gasoline and light olefins. So due to this improvement in the reactor design, there is a low generation temperature and higher catalyst recovery. Low regenerator temperature. Low regenerator temperature, which can be done for this improvement of this millisecond catalytic cracking process, and also high catalyst recovery. Okay, so high catalyst can be recovered, as well as the lower regenerator temperature is maintained, because the contact time between the catalyst and the oil is very short, which provides the lower coke on the catalyst, and it provides lower coke formation on the catalyst, so it lowers the regenerator temperature. As it provides a more selective cracking to the gasoline and the light olefins, so it provides higher catalyst recovery. Okay, so these are some industrial photos of the deep catalytic cracking process, and these are the schematics of this deep catalytic cracking process, where we can get the lower regenerator temperature and also the higher catalyst recovery. Next is Petro FCC process. So this Petro FCC process targets the production of petrochemical feedstocks rather than the fuel products. So this Petro FCC process targets the production of petrochemical feedstocks rather than the fuel products, and it also utilizes a uniquely designed FCC unit, and which can produce very high yields of light olefins and aromatics when coupled with aromatic complex. So it utilizes a uniquely designed FCC unit which can produce a very high yields of light olefins and aromatics when coupled with aromatic complex. Next is the catalyst section of the Petro FCC process, which uses a high conversion, short contact time reaction zone, which operates at elevated reactor riser outlet temperature. Okay, so this high conversion and the short contact time reactor reaction zone operates at elevated reactor riser outlet temperature. So next is new design of FCC units. So there are mainly two types of new design of FCC units. So these newer units are designed to incorporate up to 25% reduced crude in FCC unit feed. So first one is the flexi cracking IIR, and next one is the INDMAX FCC process, IFCC process. So in this flexi cracking IIR process technology, it includes process design, hardware details, special mechanical and safety features control system, flue gas processing options, and a full range of technical services and support. So this technology includes process design, hardware details, special mechanical and safety features, control systems, flue gas processing options, and a full range of technical service and support. So this reactor, the reactor 1, incorporates many features to enhance the performance of the reliability. So this reactor 1 incorporates many features to enhance performance, reliability and flexibility, including the riser. This 2 is the riser. Okay, so including this riser with patented high efficiency close coupled riser termination. So riser termination is this 3 number. So with patented high efficiency close coupled riser termination and enhanced feed injection system. Enhanced feed injection system, from where the feed injection is there. Okay, so and efficient stripper design. Efficient stripper is in here in this reactor. Okay, so efficient stripper design. So reactor design and operation maximizes the selectivity of desired product. So reactor design and operation maximizes the selectivity of the desired product. What are the desired products? Such as naphtha and propylene. Naphtha and the propylene. This technology uses an improved catalyst circulation system with advanced control features, including cold walled slide valves. Cold walled slide valves. Okay, which is here 6 number is the cold walled slide valves. Okay, advanced control features are there. And next is single vessel regenerator 7. Single vessel regenerator, which has the proprietary process and mechanical features for maximize reliability and efficient air catalyst distribution and contacting. So here is the contacting. So either full or the partial combustion is used here, and with increasing the residue processing and the need for additional heat balance control, the partial burn operation with outboard carbon monoxide combustion is possible here, or K-Beer dense phase catalyst cooler technology may be applied over this flexi cracking process. Okay, next one is the INDMAX FCC process. So INDMAX FCC process overcomes the drawbacks or limitation of just adding the ZSM5 zeolite. So it overcomes the drawbacks or the limitation of adding ZSM5 zeolite. So it employs a riser reactor system along with a catalyst stripper and the catalyst regenerator, just like a conventional FCC unit. And next one is the catalyst formulation is unique and very different from that has been used before, and it is specific to each operation and depends on the feedstock characteristics. So catalyst formulation is unique and very different from that has been used before, and it is specific to each operation and depends on the feedstock characteristics. And this process utilizes higher riser reaction temperature, which is 530 to 600 degree centigrade, and higher catalyst to oil ratio, which is 12 to 20, and lower hydrocarbon partial pressure to achieve higher conversion and selectivity. And Lamos technology, microjet injectors, riser designs, reaction termination device RTD, modular grid catalyst stripper is used in this Lamas technology. Okay, so Lamas technology uses this INMAX process where the microjet feed injectors, riser design, reaction termination devices RTD or the modular grid catalyst strippers are used. And in INMAX IFCC processes, catalyst formulation, hardware design and operating strategy can upgrade heavy feeds for higher yield of light olefins. So IFCC processes catalyst formulation, hardware design and the operating strategy can upgrade heavier feeds for yield of light olefins. So this is the photograph of the INMAX technology of the IOC Guwahati unit. Okay, so this residue to olefin was developed by IOC R&D center, has been successfully commissioned in IOC Guwahati unit. Okay, so this residue to olefin was developed by IOC R&D sections, has been successfully commissioned in IOC Guwahati unit. And some of the special features of the technology are very high catalyst and oil ratio, which is 15 to 25, high riser temperature which is greater than 5500 degrees centigrade, 550, it will be 550 degrees centigrade. So high riser temperature which is greater than 550 degrees centigrade. And third one is the higher riser steam rate, and fourth one is the relatively lower regeneration temperature. So these are the features for the INMAX technology, which is the modified technology of the FCC units. So what are the benefits? So it gives us LPG about 35 to 65 weight percent, propylene near about 17 to 25 weight percent of the feed, high octane gasoline which is near about 95 plus, and multifunctional proprietary catalysts it has, which are having higher propylene selectivity, superior metal tolerance and lower coke mate. Okay, so these are the features of the INMAX technology which are having these benefits of providing the higher LPG and the propylene and the high octane gasolines. Because of these special features, very high catalyst oil ratio, high riser temperature, high rise or steam rate and relatively lower generation temperature, and also the multifunctional property of the catalyst, which is higher propylene selectivity, superior metal tolerance and lower coke mate. So this class we have gone through the details of the FCC unit and what are the process of the unstabilized naphtha to stabilized naphtha. Then what are the different types of configurations are there for the regeneration unit, and what are the old types of FCC units, and what are the modified ones, and what are the features of these modified ones. Okay, thank you students for this class.